Very well. Good afternoon. We are on YouTube Live. Everybody, I'm letting Mr. Todd Dunham in. It is 1 p.m. exactly. That's awesome. 1 p.m. exactly, 7/8/2020. As everybody knows, unless you've been living under a rock, we are in the midst of a pandemic, and the Supreme Court of Texas has allowed us to hold hearings via Zoom and YouTube Live. If anyone participating herein objects to the process, objects to the limitations, please let me know verbally right now. Let the record reflect that there are no objections. I want everybody to know, participating as well, everybody here today, litigants, attorneys, that Ms. Anita Garza is my court reporter. She is present and participating in this hearing, as well as Rebecca Gonzalez, my court coordinator, and Rick Salazar, my bailiff, who is going to keep us safe and secure from Zoom bombers. Right, Rick?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Okay, there's going to be absolutely no recording of these proceedings. The only recording is going to be the official court reporter's record. If anybody does want to participate, there's the options bar on the bottom. If anybody wants to chat, participate in the chat, or participate in the breakout rooms, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to accommodate you. Last thing, we are on YouTube Live to comply with the Texas Open Courts provision. Okay, with that being said, is there anybody here that does not understand the instructions, or once again that objects to proceeding via Zoom and YouTube Live? Let the record reflect that there are no verbal objections. Okay, we're going to begin with our docket, and pretty much on time, which is awesome. Is Mr. Vasquez or Mr. Castañon here for Tanya Morales? Tanya Morales.
Yeah, that's me, Judge. That's me.
Very good. At this time, for cause number 2018-3792, the state of Texas versus Tanya Morales. Announcement of counsel, please.
David Nunez for the state.
Mr. Nunez, your internet's bad again. It was good this morning, or maybe you didn't say anything all morning long. What happened?
He's David Nunez for the state is ready. Can you hear me now?
It's bad. It's delayed. It's bad, and it's echoey. Okay, let's see, Miss Anita. Interrupt us if you can't understand Mr. Nunez. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Rene Vasquez for the defense. We ready, Your Honor?
Thank you. Okay, this is a settlement conference. Do we have an offer of settlement, Mr. Vasquez?
Yes, Judge. We already have a deal. I'm just waiting for the plea papers, and then we can set it for the plea. She's in custody, so I'm waiving her presence, Judge.
Good, very good. Tell me what the deal is so I can write it down in case there's any misunderstanding.
It's being reduced to a misdemeanor. Okay. 2 years deferred, Judge.
Okay, great. That's all I need to know. Very good. Miss Becky, so where are the plea papers right now? Where are they? En route? Where?
En route, Judge. Yeah, I have to draft them. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so you're going to draft them. Okay, very good. So as soon as you get them, Mr. Vasquez, you're diligent. I have never had to worry about you. You're going to give Miss Becky a call, and she'll set up the plea.
Yes, Judge, I will.
Oh, very good. Anything, you have another hearing, Mr. Vasquez, or are you done?
Yes, Judge, I have another one. Daniel Thomas, Judge.
Daniel who?
Thomas.
Oh.
I think it's page...
Oh, it's page 6.
6.
Yes, 2019-3501, Daniel Zachariah Thomas. Announcement of counsel, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor. Please, ready?
Rene Vasquez for the defense. We're ready, Your Honor.
Very good. And he's in jail, and you waive his appearance as well for this hearing, right, Mr.?
I do, Judge.
Very good.
Yes,
okay. So what's the offer on this case, Mr. Nunez, please?
Your Honor, the offer is 10 years deferred probation, 150 hours of community service, anger management, forfeiture of weapon, UABA, as well as a curfew.
Mr. Nunez, Mr. Vasquez, what do you think about that?
It's a good start, Judge. Let me go talk to my client, but it's the first offer. Yes, Judge.
So you want me to set it up for another settlement conference in 30 days? Or
Yes, because
2
well, the thing
weeks?
is now we're having all these issues with the jail, so it's kind of
No.
I just want to be flexible with that. But yes, I think 30
I
days
think
will be
30
fine.
days should be enough,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
Settlement
If it's
conference?
probation, he'll be out. So yes.
Thank you. Absolutely. So is it working out for the jail or is it not working out in the jail?
Well, I yesterday I decided to go, Judge, because the calls, some other attorneys have problems with the calls. It takes 2 hours just waiting on the inmate. The sheriff is saying that they feel overwhelmed by the requests. So it's the process is I don't know. We are just trying to do what we
It's getting
can.
crazier and crazier. It's getting worse and worse, Mr. Vasquez,
Yeah,
right?
I
It's not getting
I went
better.
there yesterday. I had to visit 3 clients. One was in quarantine, and I was able to talk to the other two. But another attorney in my office waited like 2 hours just
No, it's getting
to
crazy.
get so on the phone. So it's just
Right,
I don't
right.
know what's
That's
best.
fine.
I don't know.
I know, but I think 30 days will be sufficient time for
Yes.
you. Wait on the phone for 2 hours for your client or,
Yeah, I will, Judge. Yeah, no
right?
problem. Yeah.
I'm not
Yes.
going to tell you to go because we got an email from your boss, Mr. Cox, that's saying you guys aren't
Yeah.
going. You
Yeah.
guys aren't going. I respect that. I respect that. Okay. Okay, Mr. Vasquez, you're done with this one. Do you have any more?
No, Judge, those two.
Okay, very good, sir. Thank you. You may be
Thank you.
excused. Have a great day. Be safe.
You too, Judge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts, you're the next one. David Gomez, 2019-1018 and 6902. Announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor. State is ready.
Charles Roberts for the defense. We're ready, Your Honor.
Very good. Did you get an offer of settlement in this case, Mr.
Judge,
Roberts?
they need to ID each other.
Thank you. Is Mr. Gomez on the, thank you, Mr. Rick.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Hi, Mr. Gomez.
How are you?
Yes.
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Staying safe, trying to.
I know, all of us are. All of
Yeah.
us are. Yes, sir. Well, good. You're doing a good job, and so am I, right?
Yes, I've been. Yes,
Good.
ma'am.
Good, sir. Good. Mr. Gomez, do you see and recognize your attorney, Mr. Roberts, on the screen?
Your Honor, we just got appointed last week, so we haven't
Oh.
met in person.
Okay.
I am representing him, and we are downloading. He has more than one case. We're downloading his cases.
He only
and
has 2 cases, right?
Yeah. I'm hoping. I'm not sure, but I know he has 2 felony cases.
Mr. Nunez, how many cases? I guess we're not going to be able to do an identification, right? Because it's only been a week since you've been appointed or retained or whatever. Mr. Roberts, do you waive that for the record? That there's no
Yeah, we
identification
do.
for
Your
either
Honor.
of
We
you?
can proceed with this. And we
Okay.
probably need a settlement conference, I would guess, within 30 days.
Okay.
But I did want to hear whatever the district attorney is offering today.
Okay. Mr. Nunez, what are you offering?
Yes, Your Honor. I did double check. There are 2 felony cases as well as 2 misdemeanor cases.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
One was just picked
Do
up.
you represent him on the misdemeanor, Mr. Roberts?
They invariably assign the same attorney, Your Honor.
Okay.
Either do represent him or will represent him.
Okay, good, good. Okay, Mr. Nunez, what's the offer if you've got one right now?
It is 3 years TDC, Your Honor.
Does
On
he-
the felony, on the 3rd degree, I'm sorry, on the non-state jail felony, that is 3 TDC, 6 months on the state jail felony.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Mr. Roberts, that's a good, that's not a good start, but that's a start at least. You will have access, or do you have access to both cases, sir? Or you just said one case?
No, he has 2 cases. I knew for sure. The misdemeanors is the ones I want.
Oh, okay,
Sure about.
okay, very good. Okay, sir, very good. So we're gonna set this up as you requested settlement, another settlement conference in 30 days. That'll give you an opportunity to meet with your client, right, to discuss the case with him, and then you will let us know what you want to do in 30 days, okay, Mr. Roberts?
Yeah, I wanted to download the case and read it before I met with him because it's to meet with him before you know what the case is.
I understand. Now I understand. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to see you in 30 days on this case, Mr. Roberts, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Becky, I'll send you notice. Thank you, Mr. Gomez. You may be
Thank you.
excused, sir. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too, sir. You
Mhm.
stay safe out there, please.
Likewise.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. There's nobody out there for Ruben Nunez. That's the next case, right? We'll wait for Mr. Ruben Nunez to come. Mr. Morales, Leonard Morales, court calls cause number 2019-2545. Announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor. State is ready.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Leonard Morales on behalf of the defendant. We're ready, Judge.
Good, very good. Do you, Miss Lucila Gomez? She's not participating. Oh, yes, she is. Here
She is, Judge. She should be on.
Ms. Gomez, can you talk to me? I'm trying to unmute you. Ms. Gomez, where are you?
Yeah, she's still on. She's still showing mute. She's on
She's
mute.
still showing. Ms. Gomez, can you unmute? There you go.
There we go.
Ms. Gomez, can you talk to me?
Yes,
Good afternoon. How are you?
good.
Good, ma'am. Do you see and recognize your attorney on the screen? Mr.
Yes.
Morales has your attorney, right? Good, good. And Mr. Morales, do you see and recognize Ms. Gomez as your client and the defendant in this case?
That is Ms. Gomez, Your Honor.
Good. Let the record reflect that both have identified each other. Do you have an offer of settlement or a rec in this case, Mr. Morales?
Judge, this was the, if you remember, this was the broomstick case,
Oh,
that one. So that's where we are right now, Judge.
okay,
I'm waiting to
Mr.
find out what
Mr.
Mr.
Nunez.
Nunez has for us.
Okay, Mr. Nunez. All he had to say was broomstick and it jarred my memory.
Well, the notes that we have, Your Honor, it was family violence counseling for dismissal after proof that they have completed the necessary amount of counseling sessions. I don't know if the court has it. That was in June 17th to be exact.
I don't remember that. Do you remember that, Mr. Morales?
I remember we had discussed something along those lines, Judge. I wasn't sure if it was a final offer or not. If it is, then I'll talk to my client about it. Sounds
This is
doable.
what happened. This is what happened. The judge is the one that said, this is the kind of case that should be some family violence counseling classes or counseling for a dismissal. And Mr. Nunez or Mr. Martinez very reasonably and graciously revisited the case. And I guess they figured it was a fair, a good case for this kind of recommendation. Okay, so
Sure,
Mr. Nunez, it's going to be some family violence counseling or classes?
Counseling sessions. I don't know how we classify that, Judge. I mean, I guess maybe.
Remember, Judge, this is the one where we had talked about it, the Ms. Payan Mr. Morales was saying that perhaps both should attend, because originally what it was I wanted the defendant to go to the counseling session. Ms. Payan can talk with her and say, hey, you know what, I think she gets it. I don't think she needs to attend any more sessions.
Okay.
So it's just kind of, however much Ms. Payan thinks is necessary in order to impart.
Okay, because what I'm telling you is classes and counseling to Miss Payan are two different things. She has her BIPP equivalent on Tuesdays with 5 or 6 people on 8 people on Zoom, or she does one-to-one counseling. So you want
I think that group one would suffice. I mean, if she can work that,
but the
I
group
don't know how
one
that would work.
The group one is 26 sessions because it is a BIP equivalent.
Okay. Then
So,
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's yeah. But I thought we could do something more. The both of these people could do something online or maybe something local, something like that would accommodate.
or
everything.
she could counsel them for 3 sessions or 5 sessions, whatever you guys say.
It's I just I would just prefer some sort of, like you said, Zoom's fine, obviously. And then they offer, Mr. Morales is right. They do offer these things online where there's various Zoom, anger management, family violence classes, those types of things online. Whichever one works best for their schedule and their budget.
How many sessions minimal are you requesting or requiring?
I think 3, I mean,
Okay.
maybe there's, yeah.
You want to find something online then, Mr. Morales?
We can do that, Judge.
Okay,
We can do
very
that,
good.
Judge.
Find something online, 3 sessions online. How much time do you want me to give you so we can have another status to make sure she completes it? 45 days.
I guess that'll be fine, Judge.
right? It's going to be a status in 45 days to make sure she's completed 3 sessions online. She can do that in 45 days, mister.
Sure.
Okay,
And of course, if Mr. Morales has some sort of proof, he can get to me, before the next
perfect.
hearing. And at that point, I can go ahead and submit the dismissal at that time.
And nobody has to appear to the hearing. Absolutely. That's correct, Mr. Martinez.
Absolutely.
Mr. Morales, anything else in this case?
No, Judge, I think we're clear now.
Good. Mr. Nunez, Mr. Martinez, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You all may be excused. Have a great day. Thank you, Mr. Morales.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. The next
Lucille, I'll
one.
call you shortly, okay?
Thank you, Ms. Gomez. You may leave. Thank you. Have a good day, ma'am. Be safe out there.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you. Mr. Ruben Ortiz, are you here for Mr. Ruben Ortiz, Mr. Curtis Cox?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
That's the next one. 2019-1461 and 2020-1743. Hugo Rocha, announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor. State is ready.
Yeah, for defense, Curtis Cox and Ruben Ortiz, the defense is ready.
And you
Brenda
do waive
Salandia for
your
the
client.
probation department.
Who's talking?
Brenda Salandia for the probation department, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Alayandia. Okay. Do you waive your client's presence, Mr. Cox?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Nunez, what's the offer to settle in this case?
Your Honor, the offer is 3.5 years TDC to run concurrent with the revocation.
Yeah, and Your Honor, my understanding from what Mr. Ortiz's office told me was that the client at some point developed the perception the offer was 3 years instead of 3.5. I think this is going to get reach an agreement, but I think it needs a little bit more time to
Okay.
either moderate the client's understanding or work something out.
Yeah, this is what happened as I recall. Mr. Martinez, correct me if I'm wrong, but the client said 3. Mr. Martinez, we looked at the system and the file and it said 4. So everybody said, okay, to resolve this, let's just do 3.5. And that's why it stayed that way, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so good. Okay, you want me to give you another 30-day settlement conference?
Yes, Your Honor, please.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. Anything else? Did you have any more?
No,
Mr.
Your
Cox?
Honor, I don't believe so.
Thank you. It's a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to see you, sir. Stay
Thank
safe.
you, Your Honor.
Stay safe out there.
You too.
Thank you. Ernesto Frias, that's Jonathan Huerta. He's not on. The next one is Rudy Ari. How did you pronounce it, Mr. Ari? I forgot. I mispronounced it.
Ari.
I did get it right. Okay. At this time, call number 2019-3080. Announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor. Stage is ready.
Felix Castañon for Mr. Ari. Ready, Your Honor.
Good. Mr. Ari, do you see and recognize your attorney on the screen?
Yes.
Good. And Mr. Castañon, do you see and recognize your client as the defendant in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. Very well. Let the record reflect that both have identified each other. Okay, what are we talking about regarding Mr. Ari, Mr. Nunez?
Your Honor, the offer is 10 years deferred probation, anger management, parenting classes, 100 hours of community service, $500 fine, no offensive contact with CW, UABA, as well as a curfew, Your Honor.
Who's the CW?
There's 4 of them, Your Honor. They're all, 3 of them are his biological kids. 1 of them is not. Do you want their names, Judge? Or?
No, just the relationship. Okay. Okay, Mr. Castañon, deferred probation is a good offer, right?
It is, Your Honor, and to quote Mr. Vasquez, it's a good start, Your Honor. In this case, I guess we're waiting on the CPS records, and they had them the last time, but they had the wrong affidavit. I did send over, I guess Mr. Nunez and I discussed this case before, and he had found another case, but I sent him over some information. So now more than ever, I would like to see the CPS records. And then also in these kind of cases, a lot of times the CPS speaks to the children, and I wanted to see if their statements are consistent. And I spoke to Mr. Ari also before court, and he stated that, I mean, he's very reasonable, but he said that as far as like the recommendation of parenting classes, that CPS made him do extensive counseling and parenting classes and anger management. So if it does come down to taking the deal, he'd like to get some credit for that. But I guess, again, the CPS records would show exactly what he's done. And so Mr. Nunez was still working on that.
Okay, you said at the beginning of your little summary, you
Mhm.
said something about there's another case. Is there a-
It was, Your Honor, it was another case, and it was, I guess, dealing with one of the kids, and Mr. Nunez just texted me earlier that it was a Maribel Torres that's living with the grandmother, I believe. And that case was declined by,
Got it. I didn't know if you meant a CPS case or a case in my court. That's what I wanted
Yes.
clarification. Okay, so it was a felony case that was declined.
it was, no, Your Honor, it went through the 65th with Yara Gutierrez, Judge Yara Gutierrez. So
Okay, okay. But nevertheless, it was declined.
yes, but I think Mr. Nunez also wanted to get more information on that. So
That too, okay. Okay, so what do you suggest? Another 30 days for a settlement conference to give you guys time to work this case a little more? You want a little more time, Mr. Castañeda? I'm sorry, Mr. Castañon.
I would think we would need more time, Your Honor, just to get those records. And Mr. Nunez was going to speak to that.
What were you going to say, Mr. Nunez? I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, no worries, Judge. I think that would be very helpful because I did manage to speak with the CW that he mentioned, Maribel Torres. And I think from what I'm going to tell Mr. Castañon, I think it would be very helpful in resolving the case.
Got it, okay. So let's set it up 45 days, Mr. Nunez, you think?
30 or 45, Judge, or whatever Mr. Castañon thinks is best.
Yeah.
That's fine, Your Honor.
You called him Cañón, I called him Castañeda. Poor Mr. Castañon. We're butchering your name this afternoon. You want 30 days or 45 days, Mr. Castañon?
I'll take 30, Your Honor, but every time you say Castañeda, I jump up because I think you're about to say Castañon. So
Nice. Very good. 30-day settlement conference, you guys. Thank you. You may be excused.
thank you, Your Honor.
Another one? Did you have another one, Mr. Castañon? Or you're good?
I do, Your Honor. I have a Barnes, a Jamie Barnes.
Do I go ahead and log out or?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank you,
may.
Mr. Ari. I'll call you
Okay.
after this.
Thank you, everybody.
Mr.
Stay safe.
Thank you. You stay safe, and you always look so respectful. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Good day, everybody.
Bye-bye, Mr. Ari. Jamie Barnes, 2020-1566, announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor. State is ready.
Felix Castañon for Mr. Barnes, ready as well, Your Honor.
Okay, sir. What's happening with this case, Mr. Nunez? Do we have an offer of settlement?
Your Honor, I have not managed. The CW in this case is the defendant's mother. I have not managed to get a hold of her yet. I would like a little more time just to touch base with her and see how she feels about the case.
Okay, sir. Okay. You want 2 weeks, 3 weeks? You tell me, Mr. Nunez.
2 weeks, that'd be great.
How much?
2
How
weeks.
much? 2? Got it. 2 weeks it is. Settlement conference in 2 weeks. Are you okay with that, Mr. Castañon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge, do you need to waive his presence because he's in jail?
I do, Your Honor. Yes,
Thank
I
you.
waive his presence.
Thank you, Miss Becky, for reminding me. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And how
Okay.
many weeks was it?
2.
2 weeks?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Just to let you know, he does have a related case that is not on the docket.
Give me the new case.
It's 2020 ODO 2029.
What's the offense?
Violation bond protective order 2 times within 12 months.
Same CW, Judge.
Are you appointed in that case, Mr. Castañon?
Yes, Your Honor. I do see it on there. Yes, I see 2 of them.
Oh, okay, Miss Becky, put that one on the same track. Put them both at the same time. Okay. So the mother got a protective order, and there's now an arrest for the violation of the protective order that the mother had, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Okay, you've got 2 weeks. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you all. You may be excused. Have a great day, everybody. Are we finished with you, Mr. Castañon?
I have one last one, Your Honor. Arturo Zarzosa.
Okay, court cause number 2019-3495, Arturo Zarzosa. Announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor. State is ready.
Felix Castañon for Mr. Zarzosa, ready, Your Honor, and we would ask if he could waive his presence.
He's on the phone, Judge, here in my office.
Oh, okay.
Because he came to the third floor downstairs with the detention officer or with the sheriff's officer, security. And they called me and I told him he needed to get on the phone online, either with his attorney. He's at the bonding company and he called in, so he's on my phone. Should I put him on conference?
What do you want to do, Mr. Castañon?
On speaker?
That's fine. You can overhear it.
Okay. Put him on speaker, Miss Becky.
Mr. Zarzosa?
Yes.
Okay, the judge is on video, on video call and your attorney's there, okay? You can probably hear them and they can hear you speak.
Mr. Zarzosa, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir, thank you. What's the offer in this case, Mr. Nunez?
Your Honor, the offer in this case is either a 1244A, 2 years deferred, $500 fine, 100 hours of community service, death counseling, UABA curfew, or a 1244B time served.
Okay, that's a good start.
Your Honor, that's a great start. The only thing that is on this case, I did provide a statement from, I guess, and I gave it to the state and for them to review that my client may not have had the requisite mens rea because he had borrowed that bike from someone. It's a UUMB. And so I would just ask if the state could review the case one more time and then, you know, maybe discuss it with this witness who says he bought the bike and then lent it to my client. So to see if they would dismiss it. If not, then I'll discuss with my client taking the 1244B. I just hesitate to do that because he does have an extensive Class C history. He has a lot of tickets, but I don't think he's ever had any serious misdemeanors.
Misdemeanors, okay. Do you know who this witness is that Mr. Castañon's talking about, Mr. Nunez? That bought the bike and loaned it allegedly to Mr. Zarzosa?
I know in the police report, Your Honor, it says there's an Eric Lopez. I don't know if that's who Mr. Castañon is referring to.
Mr. Castañon.
Judge, I apologize, Your Honor. Go ahead.
Tell me who the witness is that you're talking about.
It's, I believe the gentleman's name is Philip Robles. I'm looking at the statement right now on the records tab of the DA portal. Somebody scanned it.
Philip Robles?
Yes, it's on the DA portal under records.
Okay.
And then
And it says there that he bought it and loaned it to the defendant?
Yes, yes. So, I mean, if they could take a look at that and then we come back.
Okay, I think that's something to look at, Mr. Nunez, right?
It is, Your Honor, but I will also say that in the police report, it states that the defendant's own statement was that his cousin Eric Lopez owned it and had left it at his house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, what do you have to say about that? We have two inconsistent statements.
Mm-hmm.
It was that was
Oh no,
No,
sir, Mr.
they're asking you
Zarzosa,
not to speak, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, if I could talk to my client, I guess after this hearing, I don't have I don't have his phone number, so if I could take that down right now and I can call him.
Becky, ask him the phone number.
What's your phone number, Mr. Zarzosa?
915-240-7973.
Okay, Your Honor.
793?
There it is. Let's set this up for a settlement conference in 2 weeks.
Perfect, Your Honor.
Okay, let's do a 2-week
right.
settlement conference. You'll get notice. Thank you, Mr. Castañon. Anything else?
That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You may be excused. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Zarzosa, your attorney's gonna call you. And we're setting for another 2 weeks for another.
Okay, the next one is Jonathan Huerta, who's not present. The next one is James Dunham. Court calls cause number 2019-4059, Angelo Underwood. Announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor. State is ready.
Todd Dunham for Mr. Underwood. We're ready, Your Honor.
Good, thank you, Mr. Dunham. Do you waive your client's appearance, Mr. Dunham?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Okay, what's the offer to settle in this case, Mr. Nunez?
Your Honor, the offer on the table is 5 TDC.
Ish. That's not good. Does he have a record?
He does,
Okay.
Your Honor, if I recall, and we had gone down to 2 TDC, but that was refused, declined at the last hearing.
Okay, so you refused the 2, Mr. Dunham, and now it's up to 5. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor. And at our last hearing, we discussed getting an investigator, which I filed that and you signed the order. He just sent me this morning an affidavit on trying to locate a witness. I can send that to the state. I also have a non-prosecution affidavit from the complaining witness. And the third witness is Mr. Underwood's wife. I don't know if the state's had an opportunity to speak with her or not. So the last hearing, the state was confident that they would be able to produce 2 independent witnesses without the complaining witness to make their case. And that was the reason for me requesting an investigator to see if we had any opportunity
Right. Okay.
to locate the witness in New Mexico.
Okay. Do you, Mr. Nunez, you want to review the stuff Mr. Dunham just gave you, the info he just gave you to see?
I haven't sent it. I'll send it right away.
Oh, you haven't sent it. Okay.
I
You want
just
to look
received
at
the
that?
affidavit.
Okay. Mr. Nunez, are you willing to look at that and then reassess?
Yes, Your Honor, of course.
Okay, great. So send it to him, please. Send him
Yes,
all
ma'am.
you got, Mr. Dunham. And then how much time do you need, Mr. Nunez, to review all this?
2 weeks, Your Honor.
Very good. 2 weeks it is. We'll do a settlement conference in 2 weeks.
Thank you,
Becky
Your Honor.
sends you all notice. Mr. Dunham, anything else, sir?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Nunez, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You all may be excused. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. The next one, bye-bye, sir. Stay safe out there. The next one is Jim Darnell.
Thank
He's
you.
not present. Becky, you need to call Jim Darnell. Jonathan Huerta, Ruben Nunez. Ruben Nunez, we're missing. Jonathan Huerta, we're missing.
Judge Jonathan Huerta is out sick. He was gonna go get tested for the COVID-19. He was feeling real bad on Monday or Sunday, he said. And he was gonna get tested today for that and for his diabetes because they didn't know if it had to do with his diabetes.
Okay, let's reset his cases and let's pray for him. So we're resetting Jonathan Huerta's cases. Send him an email, Mr. Nunez.
Yes, Your Honor.
My battery is running low. I just got notice. I didn't connect it. Yeah, send him an email with the offer. Has he gotten an offer in these cases?
You know what, Your Honor? I don't know because he's completely new to the case. This is the one that case was on.
Okay, send him emails so we can
Okay.
kind of expedite it and tell him these are the offers.
You got it, Judge.
Okay, thank you for those, Miss Becky. So we're going to reset that one. What about Mr. Ruben Nunez and Mr. Jim Darnell?
Judge, you're still on YouTube.
I know I haven't finished my docket yet.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Judge.
Yeah, I'm still looking through my docket. Yeah, we still are waiting for Mr. Ruben Nunez. Mr. Jim Darnell, none of their clients are
Hold
on.
on, Judge, I have Ruben on the phone. Hold on just a minute.
Rick, those are the only 2 cases we're lacking, right? Ruben Nunez and Jim Darnell.
Yes, that's it.
See, everybody's banking on the fact that I'm gonna take a longer time for my docket, and so they're not showing up.
I'm gonna send Ruben the link again and he's gonna get on right now, Judge. He got confused.
Okay. Jamie Barnes. Rick, do I have a Jamie Barnes on my docket?
She already did that one, Judge.
Who was it with?
Felix Castañon, the last one on page 6.
Okay, good. Miss Becky, what happened to Mr. Darnell?
Hold on, Judge. I'm gonna call him right now.
We finished our docket quickly today, Miss Anita. There wasn't much. You're happy.
I'm good.
I know.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
It wasn't bad at all. Miss Becky didn't bog us down.
No.
And I think these attorneys are banking on the fact that, well, Mr. Nunez didn't, I guess, didn't get notice or. Mr. Nunez, good afternoon. Mr. Nunez,
Love your
where are
background,
you?
sir.
Look at his background. Looks like he's in Carlsbad Caverns or somewhere. Where is he? No, he has an angel back there. Unmute, Mr. Nunez.
I think that's the background
He has an angel back behind him,
that,
right?
that
Mr.
Al Pacino had in The Devil's Advocate.
Where did Al Pacino hat? He doesn't have an Al Pacino hat. Mr. Nunez, talk to me.
Judge, I apologize. I got confused.
That's okay. No
I
worries.
thought it was.
Don't worry, sir. Don't worry. Let's call your case. Mr. Martinez is in all with your background. And what Al Pacino hat, Mr. Martinez? What hat are you talking about, Mr.
I'm sorry, not hat. The movie Devil's Advocate. He had that relief in his office in the movie.
Okay, okay. Let's talk about Mr. Antoine Collins, 2019-2066. Announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state. Your Honor. State is ready.
Ruben Nunez for the defendant. The defendant is ready, Your Honor.
Very good. You want to waive Mr. Collins's presence because he's not present?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Yes,
you.
please.
Thank you. What's the offer to settle, Mr. Nunez? What's the rec, Mr. David Nunez?
Your Honor, the recommendation is 10 years deferred probation.
How many?
10 years deferred probation, Your Honor. And I'm trying to get the rest of the terms, Judge. I didn't jot them down.
Deferred probation is always a good start, Mr. Rubin, right?
That is correct, Judge. The last time that we were here, I had asked for 2 years deferred on a terroristic threat. David Nunez, the prosecutor, was going to reach out to the complainant to see if that was something that she would be willing to agree to. I'm not sure if Mr. Nunez has done that already or not.
Did you, Mr. David Nunez?
Your Honor, to be honest, I don't recall that conversation with the CW, but I have been in contact with her. And I know she's hesitant, but I do think she would come forward and help us prosecute this case. But give on the terroristic threat, 2 years deferred, Judge, I don't see that happening at this time. And I don't think she would be okay with it, but I haven't mentioned it to her, to be fair, Judge. But
mention it to her. It's worth a try. I think you should. Do you mind mentioning it to her, Mr. Nunez? David?
I'll just mention it to her and see what she's. I'm hesitant. I personally, I'm not going to offer that. I would still have to assess it and talk with Ivan before even bringing it down to that level, regardless of whether she's, whether she was okay with it or not, I guess.
Okay. But see if you guys can, if she's hesitant, right? If she's hesitant about testifying, she may say, yes, let's take it. I don't want to go to court. I don't want to testify. I don't want any problems. I don't want stress. And then maybe that'll change your mind. Maybe. If it doesn't, then that's valid too. But at least you've had a discussion about it, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I don't agree with Judge. It's one of those set of facts where
It's not, okay.
the allegation is he was married. She thought he was single. She finds out he's married. And things unravel from there. She catches him at a bar to get her apartment key back, and the defendant allegedly pulls a gun on her, speeds around the parking lot. It's kind of like one of those cases. So I don't feel, like I said, even if she wasn't comfortable with it, I would be very hesitant to offer that. It'd have to be a particular set of circumstances for that to happen.
Okay.
And that's precisely my point. She has a lot of motivation and a lot of reasons to lie regarding what really happened that night, considering that she found out that he was not single as she thought he was. And I think she might have been pregnant, or she thought she was pregnant at the time.
I believe she had the kid. I can't recall at this time, but I believe she had the kid. And I mean, regardless of that doesn't mean that didn't happen. On top of that, there's plenty of witnesses that can obviously saw that what happened. So
She had a baby with this guy who she thought was single and is married?
I'm about 90% sure that's the case, Judge. I have to talk to her again. It's been a while, but I do remember that conversation coming up, and I want to say yes, she did have the baby.
Do we know if it's his?
My inclination is yes.
But you don't know.
My question is this: is anybody paying child support for that poor baby?
Good question, Judge.
Yeah.
I don't know, Judge.
You don't know? Yeah. If anybody's paying child support, okay.
Mr. Nunez, do you know if she had the kid? I mean, can you clarify that?
I don't have that information, Mr. Nunez.
He said he just thought she was pregnant, or thought she was pregnant, or right?
No, that she thought he was single. She ends up finding out he's married, and he's in the army, and one of those situations, Judge.
Wow. Okay. It's an ugly, that's ugly. That's ugly. Okay. So, Mr. Nunez, David, I guess you're telling me you're uncomfortable even speaking to the complaining witness about that offer. You don't accept it. You don't.
I will always mention it, Judge. But like I said, I don't even think she would accept it, and I'm uncomfortable even talking about lowering something like that to that at this point.
Okay. My issue is this, and this isn't a chisme issue, really. It really isn't. But why is she hesitant? He did her wrong. He got her pregnant, had a baby. I'm not saying it takes two to have a baby, but nevertheless, you know what I mean.
Yes, Your Honor. Pregnant,
Lied horribly to her, betrayed her. Why is she hesitant? That's the part I don't believe, Mr. Nunez.
The only thing that I can think of, Judge, is that the facts did not happen as she told the police.
Exactly. That's what I'm asking Mr. Nunez. Her story doesn't make sense to you.
And the alleged independent witnesses are friends of the complainant.
How can she be hesitant? She's been betrayed the worst in her whole life. She's has a child. Probably nobody's paying child support. Why is she hesitant, Mr. Nunez?
Your Honor, she's scared, and I think with everything you mentioned, that's exactly why I'm confident that she will show up. And I mean, she's talked to our victims advocates. She's told us that it did happen.
No, I know all of that, but you said in your little summary that she's hesitant.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm not.
So she's hesitant out of fear, is what you're saying, maybe?
Yes, Your Honor. Like, she's scared, but I think with me behind her and pre-trialing her and talking to her about the process and walking her through it, I mean, I've done it before, Judge. It happens. They're scared.
Okay. Yeah, she could be scared. Okay. Okay. Then, what do you want to do? I'll just put this on the trial track, Mr. Nunez?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. David?
Yes,
what do you-
ma'am. Trial.
Okay, Mr. David, what were you gonna say?
I completely agree, Judge. And I mean, he seems to have a good grasp of the facts. I would recommend a bench trial.
I'm not going to do a bench trial, Mr. Nunez. Thank you very much for the offer.
Mr. David Nunez. I just said he'd probably betrayed her in the worst way he could ever betray her. Remember, I'm a female, and I was a girlfriend one time, many times, and I was a wife many times. I don't blame Mr. Nunez for not wanting to go before me. I'm already angry. Yeah. You don't try those kind of cases to female judges. Mr. Nunez, you're smart.
No comment.
Mr. Ruben Nunez, you're a smart guy. I can comment on it. Yeah. Okay. It looks like the facts are pretty ugly. Mr. David Nunez, I agree with you. And you're saying that she's hesitant, but you have everything lined up. You're ready to go. So let's just put this on the trial track, and we'll try it whenever we get into court again, in a year and a half, whenever. Okay, Mr. David Nunez, you're okay with that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Ruben Nunez, you're okay with that?
Yes, Your Honor. I just need Mr. Nunez to repeat the recommendation so that I can convey it to the client.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. David. Repeat it.
Absolutely, Judge. It is.
No.
10 years deferred probation, a family violence
I'm
finding.
sorry. I lost the first part of it.
10 years deferred probation,
Okay.
family violence finding, deadly weapon finding, to wit, a firearm, family violence counseling, anger management, 150 hours of community service, $100 to the family violence fund, $500 fine, UABA, curfew, as well as a forfeiture of a weapon.
Okay.
Thank you,
let's
Ms.
do this. And Mr. Ruben Nunez, just to kind of, maybe your client will take 5 years, and maybe Mr. David Nunez will accept 5 years. If you can talk to your client about what he'll accept, right? That's one way to try to settle it. So look into that too. Otherwise, we're going to put it on the trial track and just wait. Okay.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
let us know if either side budges a little bit. Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Will do,
Nunez.
ma'am.
Be safe out there.
Thank you,
Thank
Judge.
you. I like your background. It does look beautiful.
Thank you, ma'am. Have
Thank
a good one.
Thank you. Mr. Darnell, you're next. Court calls cause number 2020-1560, the state of Texas versus Shakita Ellis. Announcement of council, please.
Nunez for the state, Your Honor. State is ready.
Jim Darnell for Shaquita Ellis. We're ready, Your Honor.
Sorry, Shaquita. I mispronounced it. Thank you, sir. Do you waive her presence, Mr. Darnell?
We do.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. Do you have a rec in this case, Mr. Darnell?
I do. I just got into it, so I do not.
What is it, Mr. David Nunez?
Yes, Your Honor. It's 10 years deferred probation on counts 1 and 2. Dismiss count 3. And the terms are anger management, I guess with Sandra Payan. No offensive contact with Richard Powell, the CW in this case. Screen for MHMR, UABA, curfew, Your Honor.
There you got it. Deferred is always a good place to start, Mr. Darnell, right?
Your Honor, in this case, where we need to start actually is her bond. She is 6 months pregnant, and I'm actually glad she's not here. She is horribly mentally challenged. And I asked her how to spell her son's name, and she couldn't spell her son's name for me. She needs to be out of jail. She lives on SSI. I live in Canateo, so I know about this, but between First Street and Second Street and those little apartments in Canateo, she was living on $700 a month, but I don't think you and Mr. Nunez and I want to be on the cover of Time magazine with a baby being born with COVID-19. And we had, I just got into it. The public defender's office had actually filed the motion. The only thing they didn't include was that she is 6 months pregnant. And there's no question about that. As of last night, she was awfully pregnant.
Wow. Wow. Did you know that she was pregnant, Mr. Nunez?
I did not, Your Honor.
No. Can you agree to some kind of a bond based on those circumstances?
Your Honor, she's pending I mean, I totally get Mr. Darnell's point. I do, but she does have a lot of pending assaultive offenses, including one that actually it's a misdemeanor, albeit, Your Honor. I don't even know if letting her out would be okay for her well-being. She has like I said, Judge, false alarm that was picked up prior to this case, the assault causing bodily injury that was picked up after this case in March, which I think is probably, I'm assuming we let her out on PR bond in this case, and then that's when she picked up the assault, and that's why she's incarcerated right now, Judge. But
is that true, Mr. Darnell? Do you know that?
Judge, she's such a horrible historian. Wow. I have read the portal file, and I can only guess, and I would guess that Mr. Nunez is right, but I can't tell for sure.
Miss Becky, can you call PR bond? They did not give me a summary on her.
Judge,
Mr. Castaneda, hang on, Becky.
Judge,
This is such a weird case. When the sheriff's office went to the house, they knew both of these people on a first name basis. They didn't arrest anybody. The complaining witness said, I don't want her prosecuted. He wasn't there. What they need is to be separated. They have a child. I don't know where the child is right now. He may have the child, but he's not working. This is a disaster in a whole lot of different ways, but I really would like to get her out. She's been going to UMC, so she's probably got the ability to get medical care for her baby, but there's not a great answer. And it probably needs to be that she and the complaining witness, Richard Powell, need to stay apart. Like I said, no arrest. The sheriff's deputies knew him on a first name basis. When she didn't open the door, they said, okay, never mind, and just talked to her through the door. I mean, they'd obviously been there before.
Mr. Castaneda, is there a PR bond revocation on Ms. Ellis?
There isn't, Judge. It appears that she was arrested off of the precept to serve the indictment, and that's where the bond amount.
So there's no PR bond.
Correct, Judge.
There's no PR bond revocation. Okay. Mr. Nunez brought up a good point, Mr. Darnell. Really, do you think it's better for her to be under the jail's care to make sure she gets prenatal and make sure she gets mental illness Medicaid, her meds for her mental illness?
Judge, I don't know, because because of the COVID-19. If it wasn't for the COVID-19, I would say absolutely. Okay. But she is panicked about going to the jail because then she gets quarantined. Okay. And I think she's afraid of being alone, so she hasn't been going to her prenatal appointments.
But they force her to go, don't they?
They didn't, apparently.
Wow. Okay. This little place that you described in Canutillo, is that where the complaining witness is residing right now, Mr. Powell?
I don't think so. At least she said that he wasn't there. It's her place. And he had been living with her for about a year.
Okay. So she's been in jail since when?
April, I believe.
So somebody has to have been maintaining that apartment for her. She's lost it. So she may not have anywhere to go.
I asked her and she told me it was there. That's all
Okay.
I know.
Mr. Nunez, do you know where Mr. Powell, the complaining witness, is residing?
Let me check on that, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Castañeda, did you have anything to tell me?
No, Judge. No, Judge. Nothing else.
Okay. You're listening intently to these facts.
And Your Honor, there's cases that have also been dismissed. I mean,
yeah,
it was all prosecutorial discretion that was done on those. I don't know if they probably saw the same thing that Mr. Darnell is telling us, and that's why they dismissed it. It went from PDP to a straight dismissal, and it just it just feels like we let her out, just a revolving door. She's going to come back in, and that's what worries me. And then on top of that, like you said, Judge, she's pregnant. I mean, who is she going to take these prenatal vitamins and whatever that, do her checkups and things like that? I think that's another thing that should concern us, Your Honor.
It does.
I am in touch with her mother. Her mother lives in Albuquerque, and I know she speaks with her mother, so I don't know how much influence her mother has over her, but hopefully she could have some and make her get to these appointments.
Well, will her mother take her in Albuquerque?
I don't know the answer to that one. I didn't realize how bad this was until late last night.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Darnell, let's see if her mother is willing to take her in Albuquerque. She's pregnant, and if her mother is willing to take her in Albuquerque, maybe I'll put on a PR bond. What do you think, Mr. Nunez? No? You don't want a PR bond for her? If her mother is willing to take her to Albuquerque and she's to reside in Albuquerque. That way we will ensure that her and the complaining witness, Mr. Powell, are separated. The mother, I would hope, would make sure she gets mental and prenatal meds. What do you think about that? Look into it. Let's look into it. I think this needs a bond hearing, really, because it's tough and we're asking a lot of questions of each other that we have no answers to, obviously, because this isn't a bond hearing, right? So do you know where Mr. Powell is living, Mr. Nunez? No?
It's Canutillo. It's in Canutillo. His address is 7019 First Street, apartment C.
That's the same address.
You see, it makes sense to me that somebody had to stay there to maintain the apartment, or she would have lost it by now. April to now.
Right.
So, Mr. Darnell, I'm not going to release her to the Canutillo, to those little apartments. I will consider a PR bond if mom is willing to take her, but Mr. Nunez may not be in agreement to that, and we're going to have a full-blown bond hearing on this, I think, because I don't think, unless we can try to resolve this by email, because I'm way behind on my jail access cases, Mr. Darnell, because 3 Fridays, there's been holidays and they don't give me makeup time during the week.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, so that's my problem with these jail access cases. So Becky is going to put it on the list. It's going to be at least 3 weeks or a little bit longer. Meanwhile, let's do emailing each other and ask questions and get answers.
Yes, ma'am. I will call her mother as soon as we get off the phone.
Okay, good.
Computer, whatever we're on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, whatever this is. Yes, absolutely. Okay, and we'll start from here. You initiate the email and tell us about the mother, okay, Mr. Darnell?
I will.
Yes. Mr. Nunez?
Judge, what I'd be interested in.
Oh, Mr. Martinez.
Is this the physician that was treating her, for her baby, you know, when before she went into jail. Just to find out, okay, this is the doctor. You know, she was reporting to me, getting the treatment that was needed, for her being pregnant. I've given her instructions, that type of thing, just a verification that
Why?
Well,
Maybe
just
she's mentally ill, and I would guess probably no prenatal for the first 3 months. So now what?
well,
What
Judge.
do you do with that?
Well, Judge, I think I think you've answered your own question. My goodness, if that's one of the most important portions of the pregnancy, is those first 3 months, and if she was just kind of not doing anything about it, I think there's no reason to believe that the mom could somehow impart on her the importance of it.
Okay. Okay, I would hope mom would, but okay, that makes a little bit of sense. It does.
So if Mr. Darnell could get, data like that, no, I saw my the obstetrician on this date, just a note from the doctor, that type of thing, that would really, I think, put our mind at ease that this might be an okay idea. But if there is no such documentation, that wouldn't be a good thing.
Ivan, she is such a terrible historian. There is no way to get that information. I tried for an hour and a half last night, and I can't tell you whether she went or not. And I can't tell you where she went, if she went, because she can't tell me.
Well, Judge, I guess in the alternative, I guess maybe the jail, maybe somebody from the jail can be there at the hearing, at her bond reduction hearing. Say, okay, we're aware of her pregnancy. This is what we've been doing to treat her.
Right.
We've been
That'll
taking her for these appointments.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That
Yes.
way, I don't know.
But you know what? Mr. Darnell said that she's not even going to her appointments because she's afraid of COVID. Did you say that, or did I misunderstand, Mr. Darnell?
Because she is afraid of when they leave the jail, they're quarantined for 2 weeks, so she goes in isolation, and that's what she's afraid of.
So that's why she's been avoiding going to the doctors. What is, you see,
Right.
I understand, right.
Right.
So there may not even be a history there either, Mr. Martinez. I don't know.
She did say she had been she had been to UMC some since she's been in jail, but how often and who she saw, I have no idea.
How old is she?
29.
Okay.
Well,
Mr. Martinez, for somebody with a mental illness to the degree that Mr. Darnell is painting the picture, sometimes normal people don't know they're pregnant for at least 2 months. So she was jailed when it was 3 months. So that's only about, give or take, a month maybe, where she may have had an awareness that she was pregnant.
Maybe. Okay, well, I mean, I guess in the alternative, like I said, just somebody from the jail to say, hey, you know what?
Right.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the treatment plan would be for a pregnant person in the jail. And I think it might be helpful to have somebody there to explain.
Yeah, they have to do prenatal.
Right.
Now,
how she's been doing, that she's been taking it seriously. She's been doing everything we've been asking. Something like that would be helpful too, I think. I don't know if there's somebody like
ill, if she's mentally ill to the extent that Mr. Darnell is saying, she's not behaving and reacting like normal pregnant women would. So I guarantee you there's lots of lack of medical attention on her part.
If that's the case, then I think Mr. Nunez's point is well taken, that my goodness, if she's not even
right. You may be right, but those are all very good questions and stuff we have to look into. Now, I can't have somebody at the jail there. Can you subpoena somebody at the jail clinic? It's UTMB. That's the physical UTMB?
Okay, so we're scheduling this for what, next Friday at 9, I guess would be the plan?
No, we have a list. We have a list of the jail.
Okay.
Becky, I don't know when Becky will tell us when. It's going to be at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
That'll give you guys time to get ready for the bond hearing. But meanwhile, let us exchange emails. We can have all those questions answered.
Yes, ma'am.
or at least we've got it rolling. Our list for the jail is.
It's probably close to 3 weeks or 4 weeks, Judge, because right now, next, after this Friday, we have a bench trial the following Friday, so no bond hearings and no pleas, so I won't go until the 3rd week.
And the bench is somebody in jail.
That I have.
And the bench is somebody in jail, right?
Right.
Yeah. Mr. Spencer's guy, Josh Spencer, I think. Yeah, so it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks. You've got plenty of time to prepare. That's why I'm telling Mr. Darnell, in all fairness, let's try and settle as much as we can by email and see if we can work something out, because she is pregnant. Coronavirus is not good in jail, and so we need to try to work towards a resolution of letting her out.
And Your Honor, in talking with the complaining witness on May 5th of this year, apparently the defendant and the CW in this case have 2 children. The first one was taken by CPS, and the CW's mother has custody of that child. The second one being the one that she is currently pregnant with.
Oh, okay. So CPS took over and gave it to his mother?
Yes, Your Honor, from what I'm reading.
His mother or her mother?
His mother.
Okay.
That's according to the CW himself. There's no documentation of that or anything like that. Just
yeah, okay. So CW must not be very competent either, or fit to be a father, or else CPS would have given it to him.
Judge, the videos, yes, the videos show that neither of them are very competent.
Okay. The video.
The video, the video that the officer was, the camera that the officer was wearing, they've got several of those.
The body
and
cam. Okay,
the
good.
body cams, yes.
I'm glad they're using it. Okay, good. Good.
So there's not a good answer.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe even having the mother participate at the bond hearing too. If she's going to take her in so we can assess if she's a strong woman and strong enough to handle her mentally ill pregnant daughter. And then if she's strong enough to handle the prenatals and the mental illness appointments and all of that.
Right.
Okay. What else, Mr. Martinez, Mr. Nunez? This is a tough situation. It really is tough.
Right, but now I'll just try and find out what the procedure is at the jail for pregnant people in the meantime, and I guess.
Oh, I know what it is. They take care of them. I've had 2 or 3 women. I keep them in jail their whole pregnancy when they're meth addicts or heroin addicts. So they take very good care of the pregnant people. I know that. Because I've kept 1 meth and 1 heroin person in jail the entire remaining of their pregnancy, 6 months, 5 months, 3 months, 5, whatever. So they do, but remember, this is a mentally ill person.
Yes,
they can't force meds. They can't force prenatal stuff. They can't force medicine. So she can say, I'm not going. And they can't force her.
Yes, Your Honor.
And maybe that's what we have here is what I'm thinking.
And
Yeah.
that would probably make sense if it wasn't for the COVID
No,
overlay
right.
to all of this.
Exactly. Now, the only thing we can do, Mr. Darnell, because you're right, we don't want to be on the cover of Time magazine, you know, or other places.
Right.
Why don't we ask for a quarantine for her right now? Because she is pregnant, so she can be alone and not with general population, however they handle women. An order saying she's to be quarantined, so that way.
She is scared to death of that.
Well, you know.
And I get it, but she is scared to death of quarantine, and I don't know why.
Well, You know, she's not gonna run this and because she's mentally ill and doesn't have the capability. I think I'm gonna do an order quarantining her.
That certainly is the court's option.
Mr. Martinez, Mr. Nunez, what are you thinking about that?
That's a good idea, Your Honor.
At best. We're protecting her from her, is what we're doing at this point. And
Yes.
she's pregnant, she's, you know, yeah. I think we need to do that order. Mr. Martinez, can I ask that you do that? Mr. Darnell's not gonna do it. Can I ask that you do a quarantine order? I don't know how it would be or what.
Judge, I mean, I can draft something, but I imagine it would have to be your order. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
but that's
definitely,
what I'm saying. I'm asking
Right.
you to, could you
Sure.
do it, please?
Sure.
Darnell can't do it because his client doesn't want it, and so
Right.
I can't ask
So-
him to do it, but yeah.
Okay.
Can you? And then, of course, I'm not gonna sign it, Mr. Darnell. You need to look at it first, right?
I will. I mean, I'm confident that Ivan will come up with, that's a pretty bland order.
Well, it's kind of new and different because it'd be bland, but it's new and different.
Well, if it's bland, then that's, I think I can handle it. We'll see.
If
I'm gonna
it-
put a little spice in it.
Make it a little spicy, Mr. Darnell. We want bland quarantine orders. We want spice.
There you
Please.
Yes,
go.
Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, what else, Mr. Darnell? This really is a tough case, tough situation.
It is, Your Honor. That's all I've got.
Ish. Not good. Okay, sir. Okay. So Becky, it'll be 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We'll get this done as soon as we can. And we just have to trudge through it step by step. Anything else, Mr. Martinez, Mr. Nunez?
There you
No,
go.
Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Darnell?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You all may be excused. Nice to
Thank
see
you.
Mr.
You
Darnell.
don't set this down the line for another hearing later, Judge? For a
Baby,
while?
Becky, you're sending it for a bond hearing.
Yes, I know, but for anything else, settlement conference, nothing?
We already have
Later on.
settlement conferences.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, we need a bond hearing is what we need.
Right.
I'm gonna keep the settlement conferences and life is good. Great. Thank you, Becky. Thank you. Okay, y'all may be excused. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, we're done now with our docket, right, Mr. Rick? I'm getting off.
Yes, we're done.
Now I'm getting, stop the recording. We're getting off of YouTube.